Hello, everyone. This is Joel with KSN Property Management coming to you from our luxurious palatial virtual headquarters. This is one of the videos that we're doing to help all the do-it-yourself landlords out there so that you can hopefully learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to learn things the hard way, the way we've had to do over the years. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about setting the rent on your house. Now, one of the things you've probably heard me talk about if you've watched some of the other videos is a lot of times I will advise people to think of a hitman. Sounds a little morbid, but according to urban legend, I don't know for sure, according to urban legend, the last thing that a hitman says before pulling the trigger is it's nothing personal, it's just business. That's something that you've got to remember a lot when you're working as a landlord. Don't take things personally. Don't let your emotions cloud your decisions. It's just business. And this really gets to be a factor when it comes to pricing because it's my house. It's your house and you've been living there and you know how wonderful your house is and you know how much blood and sweat and tears and work and equity and money that you've put into making your house the wonderful place that it is. Well, bottom line with real estate is your house is worth what someone is willing to pay you for it. And that's it. Don't take it personally. In general, when people are looking at residential real estate, there's five things that they're going to look at. Number one, the location. Number two, number of bedrooms. Number three, the number of bathrooms. Number four, the square footage. And fifth, the price, or in this case, the rent. Well, out of those five factors, what's the one thing that you can control? The rent. You really can't do much about the other five factors of your house. So once again, it's nothing personal. It's just business. So we're going to talk about some of the places that you can go to get an estimate of the rent that your house will be able to command. One place that you can look at is if you are a realtor or you have a friend who is a realtor, they may have access to tools that will give you an estimated rent on your house. For example, here in the Savannah, Georgia area, our multiple listing service gives us access to a website called Realist, and that allows us to type in the address on a property, and it will pull up the tax records, and it'll also, most of the time, give us estimated rent pricing on a house. So that's one place that you can go. Like I said, if you're a realtor or if you know someone who is, you can ask them if they have access to anything on rental pricing. Now I'm going to switch over to my browser, and we're going to take a look at a few different websites where you can go to get rental information on your house. Okay, the first place that we're going to look at in an act of shameless self-promotion is our website, ksnprop.com, ksnprop.com. A little ways down on our main page, there's a button that you can click to get a free rent analysis on your property. If you want to do that, feel free to, no cost, no obligation. Another source that we often use is a website called Rentometer, rentometer.com. This is a paid service, but you'll notice here in the middle of their screen, they do have a free trial. So you can sign up for Rentometer, run the numbers on your house, and just make sure that you cancel your subscription before the trial period runs out. Another website, and this is one that we've just recently started using, is called Rentcast. You can find that at rentcast.io. I like this one a little better than Rentometer because it gives you, I think, a little more in-depth information, including some historical trends for your neighborhood and home type. And it also has the option to set up a free trial. So here again, you can sign up for Rentcast, look at what it says about your house, and again, just make sure you cancel your subscription before the trial period runs out. Another place you can go to is Zillow. On their website, under the Manage Rentals section, they have a Price My Rental. So there's that's a few places you can go to. Our website, Rentometer, Rentcast, and Zillow. But the last thing that you always want to do before you make a final decision on the rent price for your house is you want to look at what's out there right now. You want to look at what your competition is right now. And this is one of the last things that I do when I'm evaluating a new property for a potential new client or for an annual lease renewal is I'll do this. I'll go out to Zillow, and to start, you just go to rent and you select the option for all rental listings. and then you just type in your city. Here we're looking at Savannah, Georgia, which is in our area. And just for this demonstration, we're going to zoom in and take a look at a neighborhood known as Windsor Forest. This is a neighborhood down on the south side of Savannah, Georgia. Next, you're going to want to set some filters to make sure that you're looking at properties that are similar to yours. I'm going to go over here to home type, and I'm going to uncheck apartments, townhomes, and entire place. I'm also going to pop down on beds and baths, and I'm going to do exact match on 3 bedrooms, and I'm also going to select 2+ bathrooms. So now at this point, I've got it narrowed it down to 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes that are in the Windsor Forest area. So just right off the bat, just kind of taking a look around, just first impression, we're kind of looking at a center point somewhere around 2,000, 2,100. We've got some rentals here that are as low as 1,900. There's one that's as high as 2,400. So now at this point, it might be a good idea to do a little bit of math and start comparing the rents to, whoops, I was just trying to highlight that. Compare the rents to the square footage, because there is a more or less inverse relationship between the size of the house and the dollars per square foot, meaning larger houses tend to have a lower dollar per square foot number, smaller houses tend to have a higher dollar per square foot. So you want to make sure that you know what the size of your house is in terms of square footage, so you can kind of run through these different listings and come up with what the approximate dollar per square foot is for the similarly sized houses to yours, and that'll give you some kind of an idea of what you need to price your house at. Now, a couple caveats that you want to be aware of when you're looking at Zillow. You also want to pay attention to this figure here that tells you how long these properties have been on the market. It's like, for example, here we have one that's been out there for 88 days and it still hasn't been rented. That generally means that there's something going on. Either there is something about the property that potential tenants don't like when they come to look at it, or it's priced too high. Another caveat that you want to be aware of is there is a class of rental properties out there known as midterm rentals. They're also known as executive rentals. These are rentals that are typically offered furnished with utilities included for leases of at least 1 month. These are popular with like traveling nurses, traveling professionals, things like that. And since they're offered furnished and the utilities are included, executive rentals are typically higher in rent than the long-term unfurnished rentals, where the tenant's generally going to be responsible for the utility. So if you're looking around at Zillow, if you happen to notice that there's maybe 2 or 3 houses that are significantly higher than the others, it's worth taking a look at those individual listings to see if they are furnished rentals, because that might be throwing your numbers off. You want to make sure that you're only comparing your property to the other long-term rentals. Now, once you've gone and looked at your real-time competition in Zillow, one thing you got to keep in mind is you want to make yourself stand out from these other properties. Like I mentioned earlier, 5 things that people are going to be looking at with real estate are the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the location, their square footage, and the price. And like I mentioned earlier, the only thing you can really control is the rent. So in order to make your property stand out from the other properties that are near you, you might want to consider making your rent a little bit lower, because in the landlord business, the biggest expense that you're ever going to have is a vacancy. So you want to try to keep your vacancy to a minimum, even if it means that you have to start off a little bit lower than you would prefer on the rental side, because like I said at the beginning, it's nothing personal. It's just business. So again, we are KSN Property Management, and we're not monsters. So if there's ever anything that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can find us on the web at ksnprop.com. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you will get notified of new videos when they get posted.